Hello all. So welcome to Wednesday's lesson. So this is going to be your lesson for 15th of April. So I hope yesterday it was very clear. It was a very easy lesson, easy part. We will be completing the remaining part today. Now in yesterday's video, yes, I made a mistake by telling you question number 3 and 17. Now girls, you can understand if I have said question number 17 and if we have done question 17, which question do you need to do? The one which we didn't do, which was question number 18. Simple as that. Anyways, thank you for those who said that I have told the wrong question, but it is understood. If we have done question 17, I was referring to question 18 because at that time the screen was not working for me, so you had to do question number 18. Now as usual, but this part I'm not going to discuss the answers. I'm not going to show you all the steps. So question number 3, if you have solved, the answer has to be yes, because 0, 0 will satisfy both the inequalities. 0 is less than 3. So of course it's true, and it's again 0 is greater than 0 minus 2 will give you negative 2. So it's also true. So which means an yes for that. And this is going to be a no, because y is greater than 3x means 3 ones are 3. So 0 is not greater than 3. So when the first one itself is not correct, it doesn't satisfy the first inequality, there is no use and no use of going to the second one and solving it. So that was yes and this was no. Now without wasting time, let's quickly move on to today's lesson, where you have to graph. So let me just explain you this question, example 2, which is on page 368. Okay, now we know how to graph an inequality, right? So through this I will explain you. Let's see how much you can understand. Graph the system of linear inequalities, right? Give two ordered pairs that are solutions and two that are not solutions. So all we have to do is first we have to graph these two inequality lines, and then we have to check which give from the graph we have to give two ordered pairs and which are solutions and two which are not solutions. So these are the two inequalities given for you. 8x plus 4y is less than or equal to 12, and y is greater than half x minus 2. All what you have to do is graph it first. So for graphing, always remember that it should be in the y-intercept form. If it's in the y-intercept form, it's way too easy for us to graph the line. Okay, so this is not in y-intercept form, so we need to change it to y-intercept form. So these are the steps given. What is the first thing we are going to do? As usual, the text box is not coming. Okay, all what we need to do is move the x to that side. So if you move the x to that side, you will be left with 4y is greater, less than or equal to. Now I cannot put the equal sign there, so you need to understand that that's going to be negative 8x, okay, plus 12. Why are we doing this? To find the y-intercept. Now 4y is less than or equal to negative 8x plus 12. Now as you know, the next step is going to be, we have to remove the 4 from the y. So to remove the 4 from the y, we have to divide both of them with 4. So what will you be left with then? Y is less than or equal to negative 2x, right? And because 8 divided by 4 will give you negative 2, negative 8 divided by 4 will give you negative 2, and 12 divided by 4 will give you 3. Now this is in y-intercept form. Y is equal to mx plus b. Only the problem here is it doesn't have the equal sign. Other than that, the rule is going to be the same. Okay, so this is one of the line. So let's draw one line and see. Now you know this is the slope. Slope is going to be negative 2 over 1, because that's an always invisible one, which means you will fall 2, go 2 down and then 1 to the right. And the y-intercept is 3. So first let's graph the y-intercept. Always remember it should be a solid line because it's going to be less than or equal to. Here it should be the line down. So start from the y-intercept, it's 3. So you draw a point there, and then according to the slope you will go 2 down. So that means 1, 2 and 1 to the right. So the next point is here. Similarly, we'll go 1, 2 down and 1 to the right. So you will have a line, a solid line. You will join it like this. Now which part are you going to shade? It says less, so you will shade all this part which is below the line. Clear? Now for the next one, y is greater than half x minus 2. Now this is going to be a dotted line because it's already in the y-intercept form. We don't need to solve anything. Okay, so this is going to be half, that's the slope, 1 over 2 means, which means you will go 1 up and 2 to the right. And y-intercept is -2, so you will draw a point on -2. From there, you will use the slope. So go 1 up, 2 to the right. So this is your next point. Then again, if you want, you can go 1 up and 2 to the right. So this is your next point. And then you will use a dotted line because it's only greater than. So you will use a dotted line and you will join the points. Now, which part are you going to shade? Of course, you will shade the part above the line. Now, what comes next is you will get a part which both have shaded, means you will get a common part which both the colors have intersected, or both the colors have overridden each other like this. Because for the other one we colored all this, and for this we are coloring all this, so you can see the difference in the shade. Okay, now using this part we can take any two inequalities which will satisfy the inequality, which we can take any two ordered pairs from this part which both of them have shaded. So we can take -1 and 1, this to be a ordered pair as a solution, or -3 and 4. You can take any points from this, any ordered pair from this point which has been shaded by both the inequalities. Okay, so they have taken this 2. You can even take -2 and -2. You can take even 0 and 0. Up to you, whichever two ordered pairs which will come in this part of the shaded one. Now, these will be the solution. Which are not solutions, you will take either from the red part or the blue part, which are not like both of them have colored. You will take any. So here they have taken 2 and -1. So 2 and -1. Why they have taken this? Because this part is not being shaded by both the inequalities, and 2 and -4. So here they have also taken this. You can even take 2 and 2. You can also take 4 and 2, up to you, but which are not in this part of the shaded region. So if you want the solution, you will take any two inequalities from the shaded part, which both of them have shaded. If you want to take which are not solutions, you will take only the part which they each have shaded without being overlapped by the two colors. Okay, so watch this video. You will understand it better so that we can go on and do the questions.
All right, let's take a look at some more systems of linear inequalities and see what the solutions look like. Okay, so here's the first one. Y is greater than or equal to x plus 2, and y is less than or equal to x minus 3. All right, well, let's start graphing these things. So this, what's the boundary line? Well, y is going to be equal to x plus 2. So I have a y-intercept of 2, and the slope is going to be an invisible 1 over 1. So 1 up, 1 over, 1 up, 1 over, 1 up, 1 over. Okay, I think I see it. And do I make it solid or dotted? Well, I see that it's allowed to be equal, and so I'm going to make this solid. It's going to be an absolutely solid line. You watch. So absolutely solid line. Looks good. All right, great. And now how's the shading going to go? Well, since I want y to be greater than this line, then I want to shade up. And so I can just put this thing right here. And I get this. Okay, good. Now let's graph the next one. The next one is going to be the boundary line is going to be y equals x minus 3. So I see -3, and the slope is 1. 1 up, 1 over, 1 up, 1 over, 1 up, 1 over. And again, I want solid, so this is good. So I can do that. Okay, so there's my line here. Notice, by the way, these are parallel lines. That's sort of interesting. And now how does the shading go? Since the y is actually going to be less than this line, I'm going to be shading down. And since these lines are actually parallel, I know they're never going to cross. And so where, in fact, do we have, in fact, this looks like a Hungarian flag, doesn't it? Where, in fact, do we actually have a point where they intersect? Nowhere. There's no solution to this one. There's no solution to this one at all. Okay, neat. Now, the next question is actually going to be coming. Watch it right now. It's going to be coming right now because it's way down there, but it's going to rise up magically. You watch this. You're going to see it right now live. You're going to see this question actually come up from the earth. See, I told you. Here it is. So the question is, let's take a look at this system. It's y less than x plus 3 together with y greater than or equal to x minus 1. Now, how does this look? Well, let's check it out. The first one is for the boundary line, y equals x plus 3. So we start off at a y-intercept of 3, and we have a slope of 1 up, 1 over, 1 up, 1 over. Notice that there's strict inequality, and so in fact, this is going to be another dashing line. Here we go. Dash, 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 dash. Pretty. And now which way do we go? Well, since the y is going to be smaller than the line, it's going to be down here. It's going to be down here. Now, I could put this in, but of course, that's not going to help me too well because I've got to now draw this other thing here. So let's just remember it's going to be here, and I'll draw it in a second. Now let's take a look at the second one. Y is greater than or equal to x minus 1. So I've got a y-intercept of negative 1, and now I've got the same 1 over 1 up slope. And it's solid, by the way, so it's solid. Solid line. And here I see that the y is bigger than the line, so I'm going to be up. So now I can put all these pictures together. I've got the green going down. I've got the red going up. Do you see the solution? The solution now is going to be this little slice of space. It's like a little street of space. It's an infinitely long rectangle, if you will. Any point in there will satisfy both. If you're outside of this band, then in fact, you're not going to be a solution. Neat. Okay? Let's try one more. I know you want more, but I'm only going to give you one. I'm cutting you off. Time for you to do other things. All right, so let's take a look at this. Here I see y is greater than or equal to negative 1/3 x plus 1, and y is also greater than or equal to negative 1/3 x minus 2. So let's see what happens here. So here I'm going to start off with a y-intercept of 1, and the slope is negative 1 over 3. Drop down 1, go over 3. Drop down 1, go over 3. And I see that I have a greater than or equal to, so I'm allowed to color at will. So a solid line. Okay, great. And since the y is bigger than the line, I'm going to be up. I can actually put that in, so let's put that up. There we go. And now for the second red one, where am I? Well, my y-intercept is negative 2, but the slope is the same. So I go 1 down, 3 over. And again, it's solid. And again, I know since the slopes are the same, I have different y-intercepts. I see these are going to be parallel lines. That's sort of fun. And when I put together the red, let's see, again, the y is bigger, so I'm going to take the big y values, go up. And so where's my solution now? Well, actually, it's sort of interesting because the solution is this band here, which is exactly just this inequality. So it turns out that the solution that these have in common is just, in fact, this solution right here. So in fact, this doesn't really cut us down at all. We just stick with this one. That gives us all the solutions. Neat. Anyway, you can see how graphing the linear inequalities together on one coordinate plane and looking at the different colors and seeing the shapes allow us to figure out the solution areas where, in fact, we have a real, genuine solution to the system.
Okay, hope you have understood by just by watching that. It's not a difficult one because already we know how to graph inequalities. So let's go back to page number 370 and start doing question number 5. So what did they say? Graph each system of linear inequalities. Give 2 ordered pairs that are solutions and 2 that are not solutions. Now this is similar to the example which I have shown you before the video. Okay, so let's graph this. Now before I graph, I advise you always write the y-intercept and the slope so that you will not get confused. Okay, so the y-intercept for the first inequality, that's going to be, I'll just write it down so that will be clear for you. Y-intercept of this is going to be negative 1, right? And the slope for this is going to be 2 over 1. So 2, and then there's an invisible 1, which means go up 2 and write 1. So 2 over 1. Okay, so this is going to be your slope, 2 over 1. This is only for this inequality we are talking about. And then for the next one, it's going to be y is greater than 2. So let's go and check, graph and check how will our graph look like. So I will start by graphing. the first one. So the y-intercept for the first one was -1, right? So let me put the point. That's going to be -1. So I will start from this point here, y-intercept. Okay, and then the slope for it was 2/1. So I go up to and write 1. I go up to, write 1. So I have 3 points. I think that's more than enough for me to just join the lines, right? So I will now make sure that you're going to use a dotted line or a solid line because it was less only. So I will only use a dotted line. So from the 3 points, you just join it and then okay, make sure that you join them like that, and then you will have to make them into, now you can draw it directly dotted. I can't do that, that's why I'm drawing a dotted one, and then I will erase off some parts. Okay, so that's going to be a dotted line for you. Now this is the inequality line for y is less than 2x minus 1. So you have to be drawing the arrows. Now which part are we going to shade for this? We will have to shade the less. Less means the one which is below the line. So you will have to shade all this part which is below the line because the inequality says less than. So this part all will be shaded. Okay, now for the next inequality, that inequality says y is less greater than 2. Now for y is greater than 2 means it's going to be a horizontal line. Why? Because that says it is greater than 2, just greater. So here is y is equal to 2, right? This is the y-axis and this is 2. So you will be drawing a horizontal line just to cover up this part. So this is going to be your line for y is greater than 2. Okay, now again, that's going to be a dotted line as well because it only says greater. So I will just make that a dotted one. Okay, so they are saying it's, because if I erase that, okay. So what they're saying is they said it's greater. So greater means you will shade all this upper part which is above the line. So let me choose another color and show you all this part which is greater. Right. So this is going to be the part which is going to be y is greater than 2. Don't mind the one which is going outside. Now this is just to show you, that's all. Okay, now from this, let's see which parts are being shaded by both the inequalities. Which part is being shaded by both the inequalities? Which one? All what I can see is this part is being shaded. See, this part only is being shaded by both. Let me just remove these because, okay, though they are not accurate, but we'll have to manage because I'm not good in editing or doing all these things. So just I will remove this part. This is only to show you which is the shaded part by both. Okay, so this is what is shaded. If you notice, yes, you can see that it's shaded. Both the colors have shaded this. So you can take any two inequalities. So let's try taking any 2 points. So I will take it as 4, 4 and 5, 4 or 5, 3. Any 2 points, you can say that they are solutions. So I have taken 4, 4 because 4, 4 is here and 5, 2 is here. You can say it as 6, 4, or you can say even as 6, 6, or even you can say it as 3, 4. Up to you. You can take any two inequalities and say that they are the solutions. Clear? So then you also have to say which are not solutions. Now if you are saying which are not solutions, of course you will have to see the parts which are like shaded alone, not this part. So you can take any two points, like for example you can say 4 and -3, or -3 and 5, up to you. Whichever, you can take any points from this shaded part and this shaded part, not from the one which is overlapping. You can use any shaded part and then take 2 points and say that they are not solutions. Clear? Solutions are only in this part. Okay, and which are not solutions, you can take any points from here or here. So what I would take is 3 and -3, or 4 and -2, any two solutions. You take any two ordered pair, and then then you say that they are not solutions. I hope this part is clear for you. Okay, so let me do one more question that will make it more clear for you. Okay, let's graph and then fine. So this is the graph again. So let's go back to question number, which question should I do for you? Let me do question number 8 for you. Okay, now question number 8, as it is not in y-intercept form, so we have to change it to y-intercept form. So this is not in y-intercept form, see? So that's going to be -4y, okay, is less than or equal to, now I don't have the equal sign, so I cannot put it there, 8 or -2x plus 8. Okay, now to remove this from the -4, you have to divide both the sides by -4. So -2 divided by -4 will give you how much? 1/2. -2 over -4 will give you +1/2, which means for this question, your slope is going to be 1/2. Okay, and then the y-intercept is going to be how much? Y-intercept will be 8 divided by -4 is just going to be -2. So you have to keep this in mind. The slope for the first inequality is 1/2, and the y-intercept is going to be -2. How did we get the slope as 1/2? Once you change the 2x to the other side, that became a -2x. But to get rid of the -4 from the y, we have to divide both the numbers by -4. So when you divide -2 by -4, the negatives will get cancelled, and 2/4 will give you 1/2. So that's how we got the slope as 1/2, and the y-intercept is -2. So let's go to the same graph, and then let's graph and see. So you have to remember, what do you have to remember? A slope is 1/2 and y-intercept is -2. So let's start by y-intercept. So y-intercept is going to be -2. So that's here. And the slope was 1/2, which means you go 1 up and 2 to the right. So this part. And then from here, you go 1 up, okay, and 2 to the right. Okay, so this is 1 up and 2 to the right. So the next point is here. So 1 up and 2 to the right. So the next point is here. So I will just join these two now. Now, will I have a solid line or a dotted line? It's going to be a solid line because it said it is less than or equal to. So let me first join these, okay, until the end of the graph. Do join them properly because you know how important that is, as we need to be shading. Now that's going to be a solid line because it says less than or equal to. Okay, so which part are you going to be shading now? Of course, because it says less than, so you will shade the part which is below the line. So let's shade it. So I will be shading all this here. Okay. All this part will be shaded. Now you can do it more clearly as you're doing it with the pencil. You can shade it, but if I show it here, it's going to be really confusing. Okay, so this part has been shaded because it says less than. So this part, this line is for y is less than or equal to 1/2x plus minus 2. Okay, now the next inequality was y is greater than y is greater than x minus 2. So here it's already in the slope intercept form, which means the slope is going to be 1 over invisible 1, because here it should be 1 over 1. So the slope is 1 over 1, and then the y-intercept is going to be negative 2 again. So remember, the y-intercept is negative 2 and the slope is 1 over 1. So let's go back to the graph. So the slope was negative 2, right? So negative 2 here, but the y-intercept was negative 2. The slope was 1 over 1. So 1 up, so 1 up and 1 to the right. So 1 up, 1 to the right, 1 up, 1 to the right, 1 up, 1 to the right, 1 up, 1 to the right. You can take how many ever you want. Now make sure that it should be a dotted line or a solid line. Of course, it has to be a dotted line because it says only less. So let me first join this points. This is why you need math. Even if you become an engineer, you need to know how to draw. Okay, so it's going to be a dotted line. So let me start like that. I don't want to erase all because that will erase even the numbers, but you can understand what I'm doing right here. Okay, so make sure that you have a dotted line. I think that's more dotted enough, right? Fine. So which part are we going to shade now? We have to be shading greater, which means you will have to shade all the part which is above this line. So which is above this line? Let me take a lighter color and show you. This is the line. Wait. Oh, see, I have done the dotted one wrong. It is this line. So it has to be here, 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 and here. Okay, so this is the line. Fine. Now you have to shade it. It says greater. So let's take the greater one. So greater means all the part which is above the line. So above the line is all this. All you can see now which part is being overlapped by both the colors, or which part is being taken by both the colors. You can see it very clearly. Okay, now which are going to be two solutions? Which part is going to be two solutions for this graph? So which part are you going to take? Of course, you have to take it as this simple part. I don't know why this thing is like this. Just remove all that. It doesn't want to. Okay, however, I don't want to waste time on that, but let me just without okay, you can see clearly that this part, this part is being overlapped by both the colors, which means our solutions are lying in this part, not in any other part. So which coordinates can we take? Which ordered pair can we take as solutions? Any 2 points. You can take this point, you can take this, you can take this, any 2 points which are in this area. So let me take my points to be -5 and -6. So that's going to be one solution. And let me take this point, that's going to be -4 and -5. Or also you can take it as this here, -2 and -4. You can take that too. So any 2 points which are in this part, which is being shared by both the colors, are going to be a solution. Now, which are not solutions are going to be anything in this area as well as in this area. Okay. So which are not solutions are going to be anything in this area and anything in this area. Just like now in the lockdown, we cannot leave our area. We can only go between our areas. So they are not solutions. So in this area and in this area, they are not solutions. And in this area, which is being common, can be shared by both, your solutions lie there. So you can take any two coordinates to show that these are the solutions. I hope this is very, very, very clear for you. Okay, now moving on to the next question. Okay, the screen also doesn't want to come. Fine. Let's move on to the next question. That's let's try to solve one of these. Let's describe the solutions and see what solutions are we going to be getting. So let's start with question number 9. Okay. Now when you're graphing question number 9, your slope has to be 2 over 1. Okay, and your y-intercept is positive 3. So your y-intercept is positive 3 and the slope is going to be 2 over 1. So let's graph this and see what the solution is. So slope is 2 over 1 and the y-intercept is 3. So going back to the graph, clear everything. Okay, so what was the y-intercept for that question? The y-intercept was, I forgot, how much? Okay, y-intercept was 3 and the slope was 2 over 1. Y-intercept is 3. So y-intercept is going to be 3 and the slope was 2 over 1. So 2 over 1 means 2 up, 1 to the right. 2 up, 1 to the right. So you have the 3 points. Now you can simply join the 3 points, but make sure that they should be dotted or solid, because it said only greater, right? It said it was greater and this is lesser. So because it said it's greater, we will have, of course, a dotted line. So let me join this first and then I will make it as a dotted one. Just erase it. Very small parts. Irritates me. Okay, I hope it looks like a dotted line. Fine. Okay, now which part are we going to shade? Because it said greater. I think I need to keep my book open. Okay, so it says greater. So of course we'll be shading the part which is above the line. So let's shade the part which is above the line. So it's going to, why is it giving 2 shades? Let me just, okay. Oh, okay, whatever it is, just let me shade this part. You can see it's yellow, don't get confused with the other color. Okay, so this is the part which we need to be shading. Fine, so this part is shaded. This is for the first inequality. Now what does the next inequality tell us? It says it is y is greater than 2x. Now when y is greater than 2x, the slope is 2 over 1, right? Y is equal to mx plus b. Now the slope intercept is 0 because there is no intercept. So intercept is 0 and the slope is 2 over 1 and it is less than. So we have to remember these 3 things. You don't have to remember because it's in front of you, but because I have to graph it, I have to remember it. So the y-intercept was 0. So you start from 0 and the slope was 2 over 1. So 2, 1. 2 up, 1 to the right. 2 up, 1 to the right. Now, is that also going to be a dotted line? Of course, because it says less. So, okay, so let me just draw the line. So I will join these 3 until the end, and until the end, like that. And then I will make it dotted. How easy it is to draw with pencil rather than editing pictures. Okay, don't mind that. Fine, so just let me increase this thing. Okay, so this is how your line is going to be. So we are going to be shading less, so which means it should be below the line. So let's shade the one which is below the line. It's really irritating. Okay, don't be in a hurry like me, just because this border, this boundary is very like important. So just start doing this. Okay. Okay, fine. Now, what are you going to give at this the solution as? The graphs or the colors are, they are parallel lines, right? So they are neither like, they are not intersecting each other, and there is no place where both the solution, both the colors are matching also. So when there are such cases, when there is nothing which you can give as the solution, so for these kinds of questions where they say that describe the solution, because there is no solution, they are parallel lines, and there is no place where they are touching or matching, so you say that it has no solutions. Simple as that. So once you draw the graph, you know when you shade that there is nothing matching or nothing touching, so that means that graph, that inequalities do not have solutions. Okay, now let me quickly do question number 11 with you. Okay, so this is question number 11. Let's graph and check how the graphs are and how can we describe the solutions. Okay, so this is slope is 4 over 1, and the slope is 4 over 1, and the intercept is -1. So let's go back, undo everything what we did. Okay, so what was the slope? The slope was 4 over 1, and the intercept was, I forgot. I have short-term memory, I guess. Okay, -1. So 4 over 1 and -1. So let's mark -1 first, the y-intercept, and then 4 over 1 means 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 up and 1 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 to the right. So now let's join it, and first you have to check, of course, that it's going to be a dotted line or a solid line. First, let me join this properly, because that's very important. Okay, now is this going to be a solid line or a dotted line? What was given in the question? That's given to be y is greater. Greater means it's, sorry, I'm doing this question. Okay, that's given to be y is greater. So greater means that's going to be a dotted line, right? So let's make it dotted. And for the next question, the intercept is going to be +1 and the slope is going to remain the same. So first let me go back and make the line dotted one. And why have they not kept the option of drawing dotted lines? Okay, don't mind, that's not a perfect dotted line, but we can understand what we're doing. Okay, so which part are you going to shade now? Because the inequality said it is greater, so of course you'll be shading the one which is above the line. So let's shade the one which is above the line. So all this part is going to be the solution for this inequality, because it says it's greater. Okay, now for the next inequality, I'm shading this. Okay, now for the next inequality, it says the slope is 4 over 1 and the intercept is +1. So intercept is going to be +1 and the slope is 4 over 1. So from here, intercept is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and write 1. So I think these 2 points are more than enough for us, because we can simply draw a line using those 2 points. So let me just join these 2 points. And also the graph doesn't allow us to draw anything more than that. So I will just draw this 2. Okay, now is it going to be a dotted line or solid line? Of course it's going to be a solid line, because it says less than or equal to, which means now less than or equal to, we'll have to shade the parts which are below the line. So let's shade the part which is below this line. Okay, I'll choose this color here. So for this, see, this is why I told you have to be very precise when you are shading this. I did not shade this side. All what's above, okay. Then for the other one, I will shade all what's below. Okay, so below means it's going to start from here. Let me start from here. Below means what is all above, below the, less means all what's below the line. Okay, so this part is shaded now, right? Now, how are you going to describe the solution for this inequality? You can see that this part here, you can see that this part, see this thin part here, both of the colors have shaded that part, which means this is overlapping, both the colors are overlapping each other here. Okay, now this part was also shared by which inequality? It was shared by the first inequality. It was shared by this inequality, right? So because the other inequality is also replacing this, so we describe the solution as all points between the parallel lines and on the solid line. So for this inequality, we say all points, we are describing the solution. So all points between the parallel lines and on the solid line. So this is how we describe the solution if both the inequalities are or what is that word we use, are intercepting or overlapping each other. So if you get a graph where both of them are overlapping like this here, so you will describe the solution as all the points between the parallel lines, because you can see that they both are parallel. So you can say all the points between the parallel lines and also on the solid line. You know why we draw it as solid, because it says equal to. So because it says equal to, you can take any line which is any point which is on this line and also between these two parallel points. Okay, so I hope the part is clear for you. So you, of course, you will have to do the homework, okay, which is the related page of your homework, of the classwork. So until I meet you tomorrow in the homework, we'll discuss the homework. Hopefully by Sunday you will be having revision, and there is some good news waiting for you. We'll start revision from Sunday. Until then, until I meet you tomorrow with tomorrow's homework answers, do stay safe and keep studying and take care of yourself.